afternoon, Math 7 students. Okay, I want to go over this because I think we had a little bit of a roadblock with solving inequality equations. So right here, we're going to look at solving inequality equations and being able to graph them on a number line. So let's do a quick review. All right, so I'm going to get my pen and we're going to go through this. Remember, it's just like solving a regular equation with an equal sign, and I'll show that to you. So we're going to put our line down the middle like we do, and I'm going to show you another equation that looks very similar. This one has an equal sign. This one has an inequality. So you have an equal sign, all right? And we'll call this inequality versus equal sign, right? Not a big deal. So we'll go down, right? So our first step is to look at the constant. The constant is the number, right? So the number on the left side that's hanging out with the variable, we need to do the inverse operation or the opposite operation, which is, this is a positive 3, so we're going to subtract 3, right, on both sides. So I'm doing the same thing on my equal sign equation, right? I'm just going to put my line there, minus 3. So what happens to the 3's on this side? Well, they make a zero pair because 3 minus 3 is 0. So I'm going to do that on both sides, cross those off. I bring my x down, right? And my inequality sign stays the same, right? It stays the same because I'm not dividing by a negative coefficient or a number that's hanging out in front of the coefficient. So look here. If I had a 2 in front of the x and I was dividing by 2, my inequality sign would stay the same. If I had a negative 2 and I had to divide by negative 2, if my inequality sign was greater than, I'd have to flip it and make it less than. Well, that's not the case here. That'll be the case in the next problem, which we're not going to worry about right yet. So I'm going to get rid of that. That's just an example that we had, not a big deal. So that's there. Now, let's move on, right? So both these cross off. We're on the right side now. What's 2 minus 3? Well, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Use your calculators if you don't know. Over here, same thing. I'm going to bring my x down. X equals negative 1. So it's the same thing, right? It's just we have an inequality sign. Inequality is just a little bit different than equals. Okay, so we'll graph it in pink. And usually on a number line, what I do is I'll put 3 numbers. So I'm going to put negative 1 in the middle. On this side, I'm going to put negative 3 because negative 3 is larger than negative 1. And over here, I'm going to put positive 3. So you should be saying to yourself, it's just greater than, so I should have an open circle at negative 1. It cannot be negative 1. It has to be anything that's larger than negative 1. And if that's the case, you know that I'm shading to the right side. Okay? Piece of cake. All right? So let's look at the second one. I'll give you a bonus example, as I call it. So our bonus example is negative 7x is less than 28. Okay, so I'm going to erase this over here so you guys can see, and we'll start in red on this one. So same steps. I'm going to draw my line, right? Now, if I look at this, I have a number next to a variable. Uh-oh, ding, ding, ding. Your brain is going off. The alarm system in your brain is going off. And this is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide each side by negative 7. And there's that bell again. Ding, 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 ding. All right, we're dividing by a negative. We need to flip that inequality sign. So these negative 7's cancel and leave me with an x. And x becomes greater than negative 4, right? Because 28 divided by negative 7 is negative 4. So this is our final answer. Now, how do I graph it? Well, let's graph it in pink. We're going to do the same thing we did with the last one. I'm going to put negative 4 in the middle. On the other side, I'm going to put negative 8 because negative 8 is bigger than negative 4. And over here, I'm just going to put 8. Okay, so I'm just filling out my graph so you guys can see. So here's the thing. I'm only going to have an open circle again because I don't have an equal sign underneath. This is just greater than. So this answer cannot include negative 4. It's got to include everything that's greater than negative 4. Now, if you didn't realize that you needed to flip the inequality sign right here, then you would have got it wrong because you would have graphed in the other direction. Whenever you are dividing by a negative, you need to flip the inequality sign. All right? Hopefully this helps you guys remember. This is homework tonight. This is extra practice to help you through, and it's also a grade. So you're going to want to get this done. Any questions, please email Mrs. Kinney or email me, and then we can go from there. Okay? See you in class very soon. All right? Have a great night. Bye.